Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about instructor-led medical coding course or independent study medical coding course. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. Okay, guys. So today I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of instructor-led versus doing an independent study of medical billing and coding, right? I got this really long email that I want to share with y'all. And I'm going to preface this with this whole thing first. I have to make sure that I use my words, okay? Because sometimes I get very excited, and especially when it comes to something like this, and especially when it comes to the amount of advice that I give on my channel. My channel is meant to help y'all, okay? If you take my advice, if you don't take my advice, it's entirely up to y'all, okay? Whatever you choose to do, and I will say this also, whatever you choose to do is how your path in medical coding is going to go, okay? If you choose the fast path, you're going to be struggling. If you choose the low and slow, long path, then you may have greater success. But it all depends on you. It really all depends on your effort and how much you're putting into studying, okay? Because I have said it many times that even if you go to a place that has an instructor, that is not a guarantee that you are going to get quality education, all right? And so those are some of the things that you need to know and understand first. And any kind of pressure you feel into paying for a school or securing your spot and things like that, you really need to look closely at, all right? And again, I go back to, if I've already said it and the person is asking me, I'm not going to respond because they already know my answer, because they even said it too. So I'm not going to respond to this person's email, but I am going to share it simply for the fact that if there's somebody else out there that is going through this, that they want to get into medical billing and coding and they really would like an instructor, but they don't know where to start, hopefully this experience can share a little bit of what it's like and you know, and my advice on what to do, okay, guys? Because at the end of the day, it is still your decision. I am not pro either way, because I have heard from some students that say that they found a wonderful teacher and that they learned everything because they had a really good instructor. But the vast majority of the mail that I get, because I get emails, I get letters, I get comments, I get posts on my social media pages about people not having a good instructor and not really getting that warm and fuzzy because of their horrible experience. So that's just what I want to say, and hopefully my advice keeps y'all from having to go through that struggle. That's why I do my videos, to keep y'all from, you know, having to go through that, because it's somebody that's neutral. I am really neutral when it comes to whichever way you want to go, and I'm not here to sell y'all anything as far as a program goes. Yes, I do have services. Yes, I do have Patreon, but that's not selling a medical coding program like these schools out there. I am not a school, all right? And so that, I just want to say up front. Okay, so we're all clear there. All right, so I want to thank the viewer for this letter, because this is the premise for today's show, but I will say that this is going to be my response. I'm not going to send an email back. All right, so here we go. So they said, so I was on the AAPC website seeing how much the cost was for the medical coding course and the CPC exam, etc. And I was looking in hopes of finding an in-person class somehow. I did end up finding a hybrid class that was partially being taught about 15 to 20 minutes away from my house. I called the number on the website to find out more information and ended up getting in contact with the actual instructor for that area. She is approved by AAPC as an instructor. Anyway, I'll be getting to the point now. Sorry, I hate apologies when there's no need to apologize. Don't do that. So here is the rundown, and I would like/need your opinion and advice on the hybrid course. It's a tiny bit over 4 months. 4 months and 10 days to be exact, and the total cost is $1,440, and that includes textbooks, materials, weekly mock exams, and membership, but it does not include the coding books and the CPC exam. The Pro Fee Coder book bundle is $220 member price for AAPC, and that includes the CPT 2023, CPT E&M Companion, the HCPCS Level 2, and the ICD-10-CM. This brings the cost to $1,670. Now, I have seen you mention in your videos that the average course is 9 months, 12 months, or 18 months in order to have a really good comprehension on the subject. And the average cost is around $5,000. This is where I really, really need you, Bleu. I don't know if the hybrid course is a good route to take. I would hope that it would be. The schedule is convenient for me also. We would attend in-person classes every other Saturday for 4.5 hours and a Zoom class every Wednesday for 1.5 hours. The instructor seems very nice and she's super accessible by phone, which is great. Okay, so I'm going to stop it right here for a second. Let's just go over a few things here first. Even the commenter said, I know you say 9 months, 12 months, or 18 months, but this course is 4 months and 2 weeks, okay? So I did a little bit of math here, all right? That's 67.5 total hours that the instructor is going to be with this person, right? So when you break down the math, that comes out to $21.33 that the instructor's making per hour, right? Based on just their fee and teaching this person. That $21.33 that you're spending to be in this class per hour, right? That's not considering all the other people that are going to be in this same class. And while you may have a huge class in the beginning, maybe 30 or 40 people, I've heard it up to 40, 50 people at one time. And then it whittles down to about 10 people sometimes at the end of these courses because people drop out or it's too much, it's too accelerated for them and they can't get their money back, and it was just a waste because they were overwhelmed, they didn't have a good support team, or they really kind of succumbed to their loved ones complaining that, they were spending too much time, or, they're not smart enough, or whatever they're trying to say to discourage them from pursuing their dreams. Whatever the case may be. Or that person just fell in love with the idea, and then all of a sudden when they saw how much hard work it is, they were like, oh no, I don't want to work that hard. This is a very difficult field to learn and to get into and to grow and to do all these things. But it is possible, even if you have no experience in medical. I've said it before. I didn't have any experience in medical when I first started. It requires you to do studying. Now I have on my channel the independent study list of all the books that you need and all the things that you can gather on your own to be able to study. Now, this 2133 you're sharing with all these people in this class. And I've heard of people that say, well, there were so many people in the class, I couldn't ask any questions. And to go 4.5 hours straight on a Saturday, that's a long time. That's a lot of information in one sitting. And I have always said that you do not study for longer than 1 hour at a time, because you go any longer than 1 hour, your brain is fried. Okay? So I just want to say that up front. And again, my advice on this videos is what I say. It would be the same as if I replied to this person. It is the exact same thing. Do not go into these programs willy-nilly and thinking that, oh, I can do this in 4.5 months. It doesn't matter your past education. It doesn't matter if you've been a nurse. 4.5 months for anybody to learn medical billing and coding is difficult. I'm just going to say that right there. It's not impossible. I'm not trying to discourage you, but I'm letting you know it is a formidable challenge, because you have to know medical terminology, you have to know anatomy, you have to know pathophysiology, you have to understand those things before you get into the coding portion, because otherwise those words are not going to make sense to you. All right, I'm just going to leave that there. Okay. And then we'll talk about the cost of the books here also in a minute. Now, I saw other options on the website, such as AEPC Live Instructor course being $3,495 and self-paced $3,630, with access to 6 months to the course, and added $1,595 for medical terminology, anatomy, and physiology course if needed as a prerequisite. You also mentioned that you have to have a strong understanding of anatomy, physiology, and medical terminology is very necessary. I have none. So watch what they said. So I called the instructor to see if she suggested that I take the course on said subjects, and she said I did not need to do that because the common terms are taught in the course with added anatomy and physiology mixed in. Those were not her words verbatim, but it's essentially what she said. And then they write in big letters, it threw me off, right? Because you said something different. So why would you ask me if you know that I just said that it's very important? And I do give my reasons why medical terminology, anatomy, and pathophysiology is so important. Because words like, and I wrote down a few, extra-articular, intra-articular, nuchal cord, gastrocnemius muscle, perineum, perineal, and talar shoulder. Can you tell me what any of those medical terms mean if you're brand new and you have no background in medical at all? And if you think, oh, gastrocnemius muscle, that must be in the stomach, and you would be wrong. Oh, perineal and perineum are the same thing. Wrong. It's two different things. The talar shoulder, oh, Bleu, that's simple. That's in the shoulder. Wrong again. Wrong again. There's a lot of things to medical billing and coding. And that was a red flag to me when she said that about the instructor, that, oh, that's all mixed in. And really? You're an instructor. Wouldn't you encourage the person? And again, I'm not in this conversation, so I don't know exactly what the instructor said. And it could be different, right? But really think about this, guys. If you don't have at least a good grasp on medical terminology before you start studying medical coding, you will struggle to learn it. And again, I'm not sitting here trying to discourage you. I know there's people going to get mad at me because, yes, you are being discouraging. No, I'm trying to get you guys to see that it is important when you're looking up these terms, because this is where you're going to learn how to look up stuff in the index so that you can reference it in the tabular so that you can get the right codes. I'm trying to make sure that y'all understand that this is really critical. This is not something that you can skip over. Anatomy, medical terminology, pathophysiology, nothing that you can skip over. I'm just saying. Let's see. So going on to say, but you say something different, and it makes sense that I should be aware and educated on everything surrounding medical coding. The instructor did also mention that I still had time before the class started to learn some medical terminology, anatomy, and physiology. I'd have 1 month to be exact. Bleu, I'm in this. I'm 110% in this. My current plan is to study before and during my course. I feel that because this hybrid course is very accelerated, I could use this course as a guide and in a way to teach myself too. I want to make it work out somehow, but I don't know. This has been driving me kind of nuts, to be honest. And I also can't seem to find a place that teaches it for free. You can go to the the workforce office and apply for scholarships to learn medical billing and coding. They do have that there. That's how I got my schooling paid for. I went through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act program, WIOA. They changed the name, or they switched the name. I think it was WIA when I first started. Now it's WIOA, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. But they were able to pay for my school. But again, I went to a trade school where I was sat in front of a computer and said, here, learn. And so I didn't have the instructor led. We did have somebody, it was a guy who was doing like instructing, a couple nights, every other week or whatever. And, he was just creepy. So I never wanted to go to his classes because the man creeped me out. So I never went. So I didn't have an instructor. And you don't need an instructor to learn this. Now, you may need somebody to coach you one-on-one, and you can find a mentor, or you can pay a few bucks and get a tutor. That's the best option, I think, because then you'd have that one-on-one rather than to be in a class with a bunch of people. Okay. But yeah, that's how you can get it. You can go there if you are in a low wage paying job or if you are unemployed. Those opportunities are out there, and you can even look at the WIOA. I think it's WIOA.org online. You can look it up online, and it'll tell you in your area what the requirements are. Okay. Or without having to go to college, you do not need to go to college to learn medical billing and coding. They do have courses there at the college, but you do not have to go to college to be a medical biller and coder. And get a degree. And I wouldn't want to go that route, to be honest. Please, Bleu, tell me what you think about what I just told you, even though she had a response for every single thing that she was saying about what I would say. My plans and the instructor-led hybrid course, should I do it, or should I just learn independently or take the course through AAPC? I'm super motivated right now, but I have questions. I really hope you read this before I need to enroll. I need to pay $750 down payment that is non-refundable, by the way, just saying, and enroll by the first week of July. I'm planning to send the instructor the money through Zelle. The class starts on July 22nd. They are very flexible with the payments, which is nice. I also mentioned that I did call the instructor to ask her why the online prices and the courses were so much higher than hers. Okay, because it's a little over, what was it? How much did they say? $3,600 for the online course, and the instructor's class is $1,440. Let's see. And they said, where am I going? Okay. And the instructor claims it is because they absolutely love coding and it makes them happy to be able to teach others and to do it as well. And they don't mind making extra money. They would be totally fine with just breaking even at the end since they rent out the space where they teach. If you believe that, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you, if you believe that. I should also mention that there is no externship or assistance to find a job at the end. So pretty much as soon as I get certified, I am on my own, which is fine, but I just thought that I would let you know. P.S. Since I don't have any medical background or knowledge of medical terms, I am happy to let you know that I've already invested about 7 hours within just a few days of medical terminology and anatomy, learning through videos and a book that the instructor suggested and the coloring book that you suggested as well in your videos. I have other medical terminology and anatomy workbooks that I have recommended. I'm just saying. And I've also attached the forms. They say blah, 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 January. I know this is a lengthy email, but I forgot to add, and I'm sure I forgot to add a couple things I'll kick myself about later, but I just really need to send this to you. I appreciate your thoughts. All right. So I've already said what I thought about like these online programs and stuff, and you're going to do a lot of the work on your own, right? That's what you're going to do. You're going to do a lot of the studying on your own. You're going to do a lot of, finding out things and figuring out things. While they may have an instructor there, it doesn't necessarily mean that that instructor is going to be a top-notch instructor. You may get lucky, and this instructor may be fantastic, okay? But it's not always the case. You just have to be prepared. So just prepare yourself. Either way, that you may need to supplement with getting a mentor or finding a tutor, all right? But to spend $1,440 for the course and then the additional money for the books, which brings it up to $1,600, that's not even counting the cost of the test either, okay? There's something that you need to really, really look at. Now, I have the Independent Study, which gives all the books that I recommend as far as like the workbooks and the books, even the ICD-10-CM, the CPT, well, not CPT because everybody's the same CPT, AMA, Professional Edition, but the Optum ICD-10-CM, HCPCS, and ICD-10 PCS if you're taking an inpatient exam, which this person is not. It sounds like just outpatient. But for the 3 that you would have to have for the outpatient side learning, for Optum, to get your books through Optum, Same thing, they're 2023 editions. $189.93 for those 3 books. That's the ICD-10-CM, the CPT, and the Higgs-Picks book. Now, if you're going a step further and learning the inpatient side as well, that brings the cost up to $218.67 that you can go to the Optum website and get those books from there. You don't have to sit for an AAPC exam with the AAPC books, like the ICD-10-CM or the Higgs-Picks book. They say on their website that that is your choice of publisher. So you can use any publisher you want. That's why I always recommend Optum books. And from what I have researched on my own about this school, they use Buck's books to teach their people. Again, Buck's book is not a quality book when it comes to teaching brand new medical coders. That's my opinion. That's how I feel, because I have looked at that book. It is, the way that it's written is a little confusing for people who don't have experience. And seeing as how I have experience and I've seen what the people have said, it's not just me saying it either, you know. So there is a difference in these workbooks and things like that. The workbooks that I recommend are the ones that have gotten me through 2 examinations and passed them on the first try in 1 year, because I already had my CCA and I took that back in 2008. But I had the taken the CCSP and I took the CCS in the fall. And so with that said, I did a lot of studying, and the books that I recommend are the books that I use to study with. And it was the CPC study guide, which even though I'm taking an AHEMA exam, I still used, because we all use the same CPT code set, okay? So that book is just a different publisher, but AAPC got that right. I really like the way that they did that book. This is not an ad for them, because I'm not affiliated with AAPC in any way. But like I said, they did a really good job, and that's what I want to share with all of you. And so that's just something that, you know, you should really consider if you are going to do this. If you're considering going down any path, whether it is instructor-led or whether it is independent study, you can certainly do independent study, and you can certainly buy the books on your own and then pay for a tutor who can be one-on-one with you. And you're not having to sit there and go through a 4.5-hour class every other Saturday, where that's just so much information all at one time. Your eyes are going to glass over, and then you got another 90-minute class that you got to go through every single week. And again, there's no telling how much you're going to be able to get out of this class, given that I don't even know how many people are in the class as it is. And the person who is instructing the class, I don't know this person. You can't ask me, is this a good idea or not a good idea? Because again, I don't know them, and I'm never going to like give you all advice where, oh yeah, you know, do this and not care. I do care. That's why I tell you guys, learn your medical terminology, your anatomy, and pathophysiology. Learn that. And if somebody's telling you, oh, you don't need it because you learned it in the class, again, it's setting you up to fail, because you have 4.5 months that you're going to be learning medical terminology and anatomy along with everything else that you're going to be learning in the books. You know, and it's quite a big stack of books that you have to learn from. Okay, it is. And now I'm not going to show this way because everybody tells me it's backwards. I know. This is your ICD-10-CM book. This is what it looks like. Okay, I don't have a Higgs-Picks book with me, but this is what the CPT books looks like. So when you put these 2 books together, this is how much you're going to have to learn from, and that's just 2 of the books. The other book is about that big, and so. Don't rush. If you want to take this seriously, you want to be set up for success, because when you go out there in the real world and you start applying for jobs, they're going to test you on your knowledge. And even if you have a certification in hand and you don't understand what you're doing, then all of that $1,440 plus everything else that you spent to get the exam and the books is going to be down the drain for nothing, because you don't understand what you're doing. That's why I say, if you go the independent study route, you can hire a tutor who can teach you every other week or every week. You can schedule an hour with them. I'm a tutor. My rate is in the description box below. There's a ton of tutors on LinkedIn if you don't want me. That's totally fine, because everybody has a different way of teaching, okay? But I will say that not every instructor is going to be top notch. So just because they say they teach and they love it, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're really good at teaching adults. I'm just saying. So with that said, best of luck to you if you are out there. carefully consider your options when you're out there and you're trying to get into a program. Just know that you are going to be responsible for learning, and if your instructor is not helping you, then you need to find somebody who can coach you along, either a mentor or hiring a tutor, because either way it's going to be beneficial to you. All right, so if this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.